The Munchkym.
So recently I won a comment contest, which never happens to me, held by Jackson Pierce. The contest was for 3 signed advanced readers copies. Sweetly by Jackson Pierce, Enthralled by Jackson Pierce and a plethora of other authors, and Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson. I've decided that I'm going to review each of these books as I read them. Now, I'm not going to review books very often, but whenever I have an advanced reader's copy, I'm definitely going to. And by the way, these are the first advanced reader's copies I've ever read. So yeah, Sweetly. Sweetly is a modern retelling of Hansel and Gretel, and it's the second in a series. The first book, Sister's Vet, is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, and I actually haven't read it because the 2 books are separate, they're just from the same series. So when reading this book, I was surprised by how sucked in I was. I'd never actually read any of Pierce's stuff before, but I get her tweets on my phone, and I watched all 31 of her videos in July, so I felt like I could really tell how she wanted it to be read. Getting to know your author is actually really important to me. The little subtle things about the way they talk, the way they write, the way they put inflection on certain words really shows me how to read their books. Anyway, in reading this book, there were a few things that really stood out to me. One of them was the main character Gretchen's ability to be super aware of herself. Everything she did or thought, she was able to analyze and have a deeply psychological understanding of herself. Whenever she had a decision to make or something that she was feeling, she was able to pinpoint exactly what it was in her past or present that made her feel the way she did. Usually the author makes it very present of what the character's feeling and why they feel that way, but I like that she had Gretchen tell us rather than she told us. I just like the idea of having a character that thinks like an author, if that makes any sense. Another thing that I really enjoyed was looking for the little connections to the original fairy tale. The little subtleties that just remind you where the story came from. I really like those. I like being reminded about those things without, being like slapped in the face with them. Something I specifically liked about Pierce's writing style was the dialogue. When the characters talked, it was just very natural. They interrupted each other a lot, and things just didn't feel as premeditated as dialogue sometimes can come across. I also liked that she could skip parts of conversation and you didn't feel like you were missing out on anything. A lot of times authors leave in tedious parts of conversations that honestly could be summed up in just a few words. It just made it a lot easier to not get lost or distracted when characters were talking, as I so often do. I have a short attention span. Since I have that problem where I love everything, it's hard for me to find things that I didn't like. One thing that did stand out for me was Ansel's name. I know that's kind of nitpicky of me, but I just didn't like it because it was so close to Hansel, and Gretchen was a little farther away. I don't know, Handsome would have been good. Not that, I'm gonna rename the characters or anything. Hey, I'm trying really hard to find something I don't like, okay? So yeah, Sweetly, definitely 4 stars from me. I loved it, and I know the characters are gonna stay with me for a long time. Especially Samuel. I love Samuel. So if you're going to buy a book soon, I suggest this one. It comes out on August 23rd. I'll put in the description a link where you can buy this. And I'll put up here a link to Jackson Pierce's videos, which are really good. If you like my videos, you'll probably like hers. We have a very similar vlogging style. So yeah, go get to know Jackson Pierce. Bye! Watched all 30, I don't know, however many days there are in April. No, what month was that? July. That was a big fail.